The Scandalous Life of Asa Candler, 10 Shocking Facts. Asa Candler, the name synonymous with Coca-Cola, is often celebrated for his business acumen and philanthropy. However, beneath the surface of this public persona lies a life riddled with controversies and scandals. From dubious business practices to personal indiscretions, Candler's story is as effervescent as the beverage he popularized. Here are 10 of the most scandalous and shocking facts about Asa Candler. Fact number 1. The acquisition of Coca-Cola. In the pivotal year of 1888, Asa Candler, an ambitious pharmacist and businessman from Atlanta, secured a life-changing deal by purchasing the formula for Coca-Cola from its inventor, Dr. John Stith Pemberton. Pemberton, a Confederate veteran who had fallen into addiction and financial distress, sold the rights for a mere $2,300, a sum reportedly paid partly in cash and partly in promises. The circumstances of the transaction were murky, with substantial evidence suggesting that Pemberton's deteriorating health and addiction to morphine clouded his judgment. Candler's strategy was ruthless and calculated. He systematically acquired additional rights from Pemberton's partners and heirs, consolidating complete control and effectively rewriting the narrative of Coca-Cola's early days. This acquisition raised numerous ethical questions, particularly regarding the manipulation of Pemberton's vulnerable state for corporate gain. Number 2. Monopolistic practices. As Coca-Cola's popularity soared under Asa Candler's leadership, his business tactics grew increasingly aggressive. Candler was relentless in his pursuit to dominate the soft drink market, employing strategies that would be deemed monopolistic by today's standards. He pursued an aggressive strategy of buying out over 20 rival soda fountain companies and securing exclusive contracts with key suppliers to hinder competitors' access to essential ingredients like coca leaves and cola nuts. These moves effectively stifled competition and established Coca-Cola as a monopolistic giant. However, these practices did not go unchallenged. They sparked several legal battles throughout the late 1890s and early 1900s, drawing criticism from both the business world and the public. Critics lambasted Candler's tactics as unethical, leading to a scrutinized public image that the company had to carefully manage. Number 3. Controversial ingredient. One of the most debated aspects of Coca-Cola's history under Asa Candler's stewardship revolves around its initial inclusion of cocaine. Originally, Coca-Cola was marketed as a nerve tonic that could alleviate exhaustion, featuring approximately 9 milligrams of cocaine per serving in its early formulations. As understanding of cocaine's harmful effects and its addictive nature grew, the ingredient drew public and regulatory scrutiny. Despite facing significant backlash, Candler staunchly defended the inclusion of cocaine, arguing in 1891, "The benefits of cocaine are undeniable for those who know how to use it judiciously." However, it's important to note that the Coca-Cola Company officially denies that cocaine was ever a part of their formula, making this a debated historical point rather than an indisputable fact. Yielding to increasing pressure and changing laws regarding narcotics, Coca-Cola was reformulated in 1904 to remove the controversial ingredient and increase the caffeine content, transitioning its image from a medicinal tonic to a mainstream soft drink. Number 4. Manipulative marketing. Asa Candler, recognized for his shrewd business acumen, was also a pioneer in the realm of aggressive advertising. From the moment he acquired Coca-Cola, Candler embarked on a marketing spree, positioning the beverage as a miraculous brain tonic. He claimed that it could cure a myriad of ailments, from headaches and exhaustion to morphine addiction, a bold assertion given the lack of scientific backing. These extravagant health claims were part of a strategic campaign to brand Coca-Cola as more than just a soft drink. It was marketed as a medicinal remedy. In an 1890s pamphlet, Coca-Cola was touted as the ideal brain tonic that promotes mental refreshment. Despite the criticism for these unsubstantiated claims, Candler's tactics proved immensely successful, embedding Coca-Cola in the public consciousness as a healthful tonic, which significantly boosted sales during the early years of his ownership. Number 5. The Coca-Cola Company split. In a significant financial transaction in 1919, Asa Candler and his family sold the Coca-Cola Company to a consortium of investors for the staggering sum of $25 million, a monumental amount at the time. This sale, however, came with a pivotal and controversial stipulation. Candler retained control over the exclusive formula for Coca-Cola syrup. This clause allowed Candler to maintain a crucial foothold in the company, dictating the production of the core ingredient. Critics lambasted this arrangement as a strategic maneuver to secure ongoing profits and influence while offloading the managerial burdens and operational responsibilities of the company. This deal not only ensured Candler's continued financial gain but also stirred debates over the ethical implications of such a dual role, where he benefited without the direct accountability of corporate governance. Number 6. The labor strike of 1919. In 1919, the labor climate at the Coca-Cola factory in Atlanta, owned by Asa Candler, reached a breaking point. Workers, fed up with prolonged poor working conditions and low wages that had not been adjusted to match the post-World War I economic boom, organized a major strike. On May 15, 1919, hundreds of employees walked out, demanding better pay, reasonable hours, and safer workplace conditions. Candler, known for his stern approach to business, responded with an iron fist. He categorically refused to engage in negotiations with the strikers and instead hired strikebreakers to keep the factory operational. This decision escalated tensions, leading to several violent clashes between strikers, newly hired workers, and police forces attempting to maintain order. Local newspapers like the Atlanta Constitution reported on these incidents, highlighting the stark contrast between Candler's public persona as a philanthropic businessman and the reality of his labor practices. Number 7. Religious controversies. Asa Candler, a devout Methodist, was not only a prominent business figure but also a major benefactor of Methodist institutions and causes. His substantial donations were pivotal in supporting Methodist education and missionary work. However, Candler's involvement with the church sparked controversy, as some critics argued that he used his wealth to wield undue influence over church policies. His contributions often came with strings attached, aimed at bolstering conservative Christian ideologies that aligned with his personal beliefs. In the early 1900s, Candler's funding initiatives were viewed by some within the community as attempts to enforce his fundamentalist views, essentially using his financial clout to shape religious discourse and practice. This melding of wealth and religious influence drew criticism from those who saw it as blurring the lines between genuine philanthropy and religious manipulation. Number 8. Political ambitions and corruption allegations. Asa Candler's political career, highlighted by his tenure as mayor of Atlanta from 1916 to 1919, was fraught with controversy. His administration was frequently under fire for perceived corruption and cronyism. Candler was accused of favoring friends and associates in the awarding of lucrative city contracts and was alleged to have misappropriated city funds for personal and political gain. These accusations were widely reported in local newspapers, casting a shadow over his contributions to the city's development. For instance, the Atlanta Constitution in 1917 reported on disputes involving city contract awards that suggested favoritism under Candler's administration. His political legacy, therefore, is dual-faceted. While he was recognized for some civic improvements, his mayoralty is also remembered for allegations that reinforced his reputation as a businessman who might skirt ethical boundaries for personal advantage. Number 9. The Family Feud over the Candler estate. Following Asa Candler's death in 1929, his vast estate, estimated to be worth millions, became the epicenter of a protracted and acrimonious legal battle among his heirs. The public feud involved his children and extended to grandchildren, exposing deep-seated animosities and rivalries. Court proceedings, which dragged on for years, were covered extensively in the media, highlighting disputes over the control of Candler's financial legacy, including Coca-Cola shares and real estate holdings. This familial discord unveiled a side of the Candler dynasty that contrasted sharply with the public image of a unified, successful family, revealing instead a backdrop of greed and infighting that tarnished the patriarch's legacy. Number 10. Health crusades. Among Asa Candler's lesser-known crusades was his vehement support for prohibition. A staunch opponent of alcohol, Candler leveraged his influence and financial resources to champion anti-alcohol legislation and campaigns throughout the early 20th century. His motivations were twofold, rooted in his Methodist beliefs which preached temperance, and strategically beneficial for Coca-Cola, as prohibition curtailed alcoholic competitors, positioning Coca-Cola as an ideal alternative. Candler's public speeches and financial contributions to the temperance movement were well documented, including significant support to the Anti-Saloon League. His activism in this area highlighted how personal convictions and business interests could align to drive social change, albeit not without critics who questioned the confluence of moral stance and commercial gain.